Hi friends, how are you doing? I hope everyone's well. I'm going to talk about SoFi a little bit, but what I really want to talk about is, and I should have been talking about the stock more. I talked about it in the past when it was like $3, $4, $5, and I want to get back to talking about it more because it is obviously running, and the stock probably, I mean, don't hold me to this, but and it's not just me saying this. I think this is kind of the consensus out there, even talking to some gurus of mine that I look to in the market. But Wolf here, let's talk about Wolf first. This stock is obviously getting a lot of attention. It is getting a lot of attention. And this is the thing too, when we talk about, applied digital is getting a lot of attention. This is the market morphing. This is the mutation of the market right now. And yet there's so many sectors that are starting to get more attention right now. We're coming out of the software security chip, moments in the last 2 years of 2024 here in 2025, and those are still hot. Those are always going to be hot commodities of probably, here on out, in chips, especially because we're starting to see chips be talked more about now with robotics, and now robotics are like, robotics, can I invest in robotics? But talking about TeraWulf here, Wolf ticker, I do think that this stock is probably not done running. I think this is probably more than likely going to run to 15, potentially even to $20 before we know it. Now, obviously, I'm hopeful for that, but I think that's kind of the consensus of what everybody's thinking here. Just off FOMO, there's different price points you're paying into this, and I don't say it to be mean. So, like, if you're saying like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me," what I mean by the FOMO, I think that there's many different elements going on right now in the stock. It is obvious. In this stock, I am very excited about it. I love new things that are in the market. I love when I find a company, a stock that is getting attention by hardcore investors, but not getting attention by the mass. I'm like, here we go. This is going to be something special. And this is one of those stocks right now. There's not a lot of people talking about it. Why I'm whispering, I don't know, but it's still probably at this phase right now where you're going to make profit off of it. When we talk about the stock right now, the company, they're doing well on quarterlies. Their last quarterly that came out, the Q2, was shy of just $48 million. They beat expectation, and it was obviously the first quarterly they had done in a while. I think it was their first quarterly actually where they had, since for a few years where they had beat revenue. Since 2022, that Q2 of 2022. Yeah, so and that's why this went from a $3, $5 stock to like, boom, $15 stock. Now, we're starting to see things with crypto getting a lot more attention. Obviously, crypto market's taking a huge hit here, but that's a whole nother thing. That's politics. That's a whole nother thing. So that's not something I'm going I'm not even getting into that. But this company will be releasing their third quarterly here on November 11th. So a lot of people are very curious to see what is going to happen here. I'm going to tell you right now, if they come out with another massive quarterly like they just had here, which the mass is saying that they are, and the mass is saying that these next quarterlies are going to be even bigger, because I'm really trying to get a understanding of what we could be looking at here with this stock, Wolf here. This stock will push to your grandma's house. It's going to go here. And I definitely believe that Wolf here is something that if you're not involved in, you should watch it. It's going to be a very interesting thing. This honestly reminds me a lot of Applied Digital. Applied Digital may be one of the best lottery ticket stocks I have ever called in my life. That was a stock that was a company, a stock that I knew was going to do well because of what the future looked like, and it came a lot faster than what we thought how soon it was going to get there. Applied Digital, I was yapping my gums about that stock a year ago when it was a $3, $4, $5 stock, and when it went to $6, $7, I was like, woo, but you could see that it was steadily getting more attention, just more of a pop to it. And now that's almost a $40 stock now. So yeah, I would definitely, I'm going to talk about the stock more because, and when I talk about stocks, it's almost like me documenting myself, like what I'm doing, where I'm at here with these. But I do think that, potentially, obviously, a lot depends on the quarterly. I don't want to speak out of line here and say like, yeah, it's going to $20, $30. I believe, yes, with people wanting to be involved in panicking and just buying in, yes, this stock easily can run to $15 to $16 as is right now. But leading up to quarterlies, and if they crush these next quarterlies, this is going to be an $18, $20 stock before we know it, more than likely, especially with the AI bubble still going here. And I don't mean that to sound mean. I just mean that, like, you know, as AI continues to run here, especially, my God, we're going into quarterly season where we're going to see what these AI stocks are about to bring to the table. So I think Wolf is definitely a hot ticket into a swing trade, if anything. But you know, when we talk about long-term investing, I've said this, but I really think we are in a mutation right now with the stock market. I really do mean that, and there's a lot of people that disagree with that, and that's totally okay. But you know, even if you look at Tesla, just look at Tesla, for God's sakes. Look at what Tesla's looking at here. So Tesla, if you walk up someone on the street and you say, "Hey, you know the company Tesla?" They'll go, "Yeah, I know Tesla." And you know, you go, "What do you know about Tesla?" They're a car manufacturer. Okay, good. That is the right answer. But with that, you know, this is the thing about Elon. And if you don't like Elon Musk, all that, I'm not trying to sit here and put him on a throne. I'm just talking about Elon Musk, the inventor, the CEO, the guy like that. Okay. One thing that I've always liked about Elon is that he will find a market that doesn't exist, and he'll go, "I'll just make that market." He did it with the EV market. You know, I don't know if people know this, but like, there were no EV cars before Tesla. And when Tesla came to market, especially on the stock market, people are like, "Yeah, right, I'm not getting involved in this." Now, we went through this whole EV, I mean, the whole EV thing, and people ask, I see comments all the time, they're like, "Why don't you talk about EV companies? Why don't you talk about car?" Because I'm done with them. I'm done. I went through the whole first 2016 whole Trump run and that was the moment in the market where that was the craze in the market from 2016, kind of almost to the end of Trump's first, you know, term there. It was EVs. You know, everyone with $10 billion was starting an EV company, and they were going crazy. Then, you know, it kind of ended, and then we went into Biden, you know, years, and, you know, it was all about green energy, solar panel, you know, cornstarch and the gasoline companies, Plug Power. And now we're back in this moment, and now we're in this new phase in the market where it's just AI. But there's all these different elements of AI, this broad bubble of AI, you know, from robotics, quantum computing, data centers, you know, crypto's thrown in there. You know, you get things like Wolf here. What I say all that say, like, when you ask the person about, you know, Tesla, why I said that first is because right now, you look at these entrepreneurs, you look at these Sam Altmans, these people like this, these people that are talking about, you know, the future. The future obviously is changing with tech. And right now, what we're looking at right now is that the market is seeing that, and the market is pre-buying the next phase of what's coming here in the market. It's obvious right now. This is why rich tech, robotics is getting a lot of attention. This is why, you know, quantum computing stocks are getting a lot of attention, and they're going to insane prices. Some of which aren't even making their weight in gold with quarterlies. You know, Applied Digital, data centers, you know, Wolf here going crazy. Now, obviously, they just killed their last quarterly. This next one may be really good. There's a lot of expectation around it, but you're seeing this happening. In the next phase of Tesla is going to be robotics. So you see right now that Elon goes, well, you know, we're making this next. He's making this next market. And this is going to bring up a lot of things. You know, this is going to bring up a lot of things. You know, Tesla's doing robotaxi. He's doing the robotics, you know, Optimus. I do believe that there is this morphing happening right now before us in the market. And it's not a bad thing. It's just saying, like, hey, there's going to be investors that see this, and there's going to be investors that go like, I believe the bear bubble you know, AI bubble, that this is going to pop here soon. I would highly believe that we're going to see the AI bubble collapse at a slower pace. I think some people think like they're just going to wake up tomorrow and the stock market is going to lose, you know, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. there is going to be a slow pushback into whatever this is. You're going to have to see multiple quarterlies come out with our big tech stocks not hitting quotas, not hitting as much. We're not seeing that. It's not happening. My God, even some of the newer AI stocks are just like killing it right now. SoundHound, Palantir, still doing amazing. So we're just not seeing a pullback right now. So this is why I think this conversation is so important right now, because it's putting fear out there in the market where people are like, I don't want to get involved. I just don't want to, I think we all have that buddy who's like, I'm just going to buy my, I'm gonna buy my ETFs and my REIT stocks and stuff like that, my mutual funds. That's okay. That's okay. If that's you, that's fine. I really do think that we're looking at the new phase in the market come up here, and I don't know how, I don't have a magic ball into the future. I don't know how aggressive it's going to be and all that, but I would be willing to say that the future is robotics. The future is quantum computing, data centers. Crypto, for God's sakes, is not going anywhere. So for the person that believes that crypto is like just going to disappear, I would highly say that's not going to happen. And that leads me into my conversation about SoFi. SoFi selling off today. This is not a situation where I look at this and go like, oh my God, this is it. SoFi sold off today to this 26.60 range. Big whoop, great. You know what? I bought more because I know what's coming here. I know that the next 2 weeks of the market, we're seeing quarterlies come out. Jerome Powell's pretty much already said, hey, we're going to get these we're going to do the rate cut in October. We're definitely more than likely going to do the one in December. The worst thing that he said so far is talking about next year, the potential of the Feds, will start printing money, which the market went, no, we don't like that, because now we're talking about inflation. There's always going to be bad news. There's always going to be hopes and glimmers of good news in the market. And, this is why it's important to invest in things that are solid. And yeah, two, you're going to have to take risk in the market 100%. When we talk about Wolf, it's still a new company. There's a lot of what if, maybe. Is it a phase? Is it going to keep going? I don't know, but making a quick swing, yeah, that's probably going to work for you. That's probably going to work here in the next few weeks. SoFi is proving to be a solid, staple pillar company of the banking system here for the next, generation of investors. And that's one thing that we should really be very happy about. That's what's going on right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't look at this day and I go like, oh, look at the 16th here, October, and look at this and go like, oh my God. We'll see what today brings in the market. It may just be a day of the dust will settle. We'll see who makes it out from underneath the amount of sand that's just falling on the market here and clean ourselves up and get back going here. So all in all, I'm very excited about what this market is going to potentially do here. And I think that's, when we have red days in the market, look at it as opportunity. That's probably that is probably the best solid advice I have ever received in the market a long ago. Somebody told me, when you see these days in the market that are just bloodshed, where they're just red and, people are freaking out, people, you see, it's just comments and, especially I get it, man, because I literally mean I get it because I have YouTube channels and people are just leaving me hellacious comments like it's like I crashed the market. Use those days to push into those days. Those are really what are going to, that's, I don't know why people start buying up shares on green days. I really don't get that. When I buy stocks, it's on red days. It's on days where drama's in the air, people are freaking out, I'm getting negative comments. Those are the days where I'm like, that's where I'm pushing into things. So we'll see what happens here. But I'm still pretty confident of where the market's going here in the next 2-3 weeks. Okay, friends, I hope that thought process would help someone. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm excited. I'm excited about this market. I think Tom Lee's going to get his 7,000 point range on the S&P. I think he's probably going to get that. We're not far. There's still time left in this market, and there's still, essentially, from what we're seeing and hearing, 2 more rate cuts, and that's very positive. So, friends, I wish you all the luck in the world in this market. I really do mean that, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.